All right, folks, we are back. I know it's been a couple days. Like I said, I've been pretty busy this week. It's been a pretty hectic week, to tell you the truth. I am quite tired and exhausted, but we are back. Okay, so go tell everyone, tell your friends, Vince Dao's back with the content full time, all right? Like I said, sorry for an inactive week, but we are back, and let's have a great Friday. By the way, it's episode 100, so we got a lot to celebrate. All right, let's get started with this, folks. And we are live tonight from the great state of Florida. Welcome, everyone, to the Vince Dao Show. It is, I said August. See how rusty we are? Really? Really, Vince, you said August? It is September 8th, the year of our Lord 2023, and I am your galaxy-brained number 100 host, Vince Dao. We got a great show for you tonight. We got to talk a lot about the news we missed this week. Chiefly, New York Mayor Eric Adams is now saying that New York's being overwhelmed by migrants. And I kid you not, he goes out here and says, his words, that the migrant crisis is going to destroy New York. Literally said it's going to destroy. Okay? So we got a lot to talk about on that front. Also, Vivek Ramaswamy has been grilled quite a bit recently, answering some tough questions from both the left and the right in today's stream. We're going to react to this viral MSNBC interview where the liberal host actually grills him a little bit on why he accepted a scholarship in the past from the Soros Foundation. Also want to talk a little bit about the right-wing kind of questioning of him, because Anomaly, I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, but he kind of pushed on Vivek a little bit about his big pharma connections. And I think this is an important discussion because obviously now that he is a rising force in the Republican field, at this point, second or third place in the polls, he is someone to be taken seriously. I think it's important that he do answer these questions, so we're going to react to those two. And just some other news to talk about, this alleged gay affair, okay, that Tucker Carlson has been exposing in regards to Barack Obama. Is Barack Obama sussy? Is Barack Obama a bit zesty? Well, I mean, if you look at who he's married to, I don't think that should be a surprise to anyone. Joke, of course, joke. We'll talk about that and some other news, and of course, Q&A and chat interaction because it is episode 100. So with that said, folks, it is great to be back. But before we begin tonight's show, everyone leave a like on the stream right now. Let's get to 50 likes. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. And of course, if you would like to send us a gift tonight in honor of the 100th anniversary of the show, folks, it is episode 100. Feel free to do so via the super chats, which I will check and read throughout the night. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, let's get started with the show tonight. Actually, first, like I said, since it's been a while, let's say hi to some of our chat. What's up, Omar? What's up, Olivia, Jenna, Brian, Dirty Mike, Supreme Leader, Admiral Kolchak? Good to see all you guys. And yeah, like I said, it's been a couple days, hasn't it? But it is good to be back. So let's get into the news tonight. All right. Well, we got to open with this story, folks. So everyone by now is familiar with the fact that illegal immigration and mass immigration in general, but, you know, in the context of this conversation, illegal immigration is destroying America. It's overwhelming a lot of places. Texas, of course, is overwhelmed, and I think there's an angle to which that's on purpose, which we'll talk about here in a second. But of course, here you have it where New York Mayor Eric Adams himself, this is of course New York, it is a Democrat, everyone knows who Eric Adams is now going out and saying that New York City cannot handle any more migrants, chat. And he's about to use the language here, and I quote, that the migrant crisis is about to destroy New York City. Now, on its own, if we were to exist in a bubble, I would actually say I agree with that. A lot of America is being overwhelmed, and I'm sure there is truth to the fact that New York's infrastructure and all of that is legitimately struggling to handle this massive surge of people. However, on the other hand, we of course have the receipts that Eric Adams campaigns on making New York a sanctuary city. So here it is side by side, folks. Let us take a listen here. Here's him September 2022 versus September 2023, literally 1 year ago today. Here's Eric Adams. Okay.
You pledged during your campaign to keep New York City a sanctuary, a city. Do you have any concern that policy is attracting more people to the border?
So take a listen to that very carefully. Do you have any concern that this policy is attracting more people to the border? Very good question. Let's see what he has to say.
More people to cross the border to make that dangerous trip?
No, not at all. This city has always been a sanctuary city, and we've always managed those who wanted to come to New York City to pursue the American dream.
Let me tell you something, New Yorkers.
Okay, so in 20, he's saying, we're not at all. It's not sending too many people. And keep in mind what else he says. He says, we've always been able to manage it, guys. Of course, New York's a sanctuary city. We love immigrants. We love even illegal immigrants. We love diversity. Of course, diversity is our strength. Why? Every time an illegal comes into the state of New York, it's adding rich diversity to that place. Okay, well, those are his words. Let's listen to him in 2023 talking about this.
Tell you something, New Yorkers. Never in my life have I had a problem that I did not see an ending to. I don't see an ending to this. I don't see an ending to this. This issue will destroy New York City. Destroy New York City.
Will destroy New York City. Not even just, it's overwhelmed, guys. We don't have enough housing. Illegal immigrants pouring into New York City, and I quote, will not just cause a temporary inconvenience, will not just be a little bit to deal with, to figure out. It will destroy New York City. Why is that? I thought diversity made us stronger. Shouldn't New York be the strongest city in America with all this diversity now? Are you saying that illegals destroy a place? What kind of rhetoric is that? All right, let's keep listening.
We're getting 10,000 migrants a month. One time we were just getting Venezuela. Now we're getting Ecuador.
What's wrong with that?
Now we're getting Russian speaking coming through Mexico. Now we're getting Western Africa. Now we're getting people from all over the globe have made their minds up that they're going to come through.
Why is that bad? That's more diversity. Don't you want it for more countries? I thought diversity makes our country stronger. You're getting, you should be celebrating, Eric. You are getting people from all over. It is truly a melting pot now, is it not, Eric? Why would you only want Venezuelans? How are they different from the Ecuadorians or the West Africans? I thought they're all good. Isn't it all good that all these people are coming?
The southern part of the border and coming to New York City. And everyone is saying it's New York City's problem. Every community in
everyone is saying it's New York City's problem. Well, you declared it to be a sanctuary state, so
this city is going to be impacted.
Or city, I should say.
We had a $12 billion deficit that we're going to have to cut. Every service in this city is going to be impacted. All of us. And so I say to you, as I turn it over to you, this is some of the most educated, some of the most knowledgeable, probably more of my commissioners and deputy commissioners and chiefs live in this community. So as you ask me a question about migrants, tell me what role you played. How many of you organized to stop what they're doing to us? How many of you were part of the...
Well, you didn't organize because you literally campaigned on keeping New York a sanctuary city.
movement to say, we're seeing what this mayor is trying to do, and they're destroying New York City.
Okay.
It's going to come to your neighborhoods.
Why is that bad? Why is it bad that they're going to come through your neighborhoods? I thought these are all wonderful people, Eric. I thought they are sending their best. And they're bringing diversity, Eric. Isn't the food going to be fantastic? Aren't they bringing good food and, not taking jobs and not taking resources and not committing crime because they don't do those things? I thought that's what happens. Diversity is our strength. Look at this xenophobic bigot right here. He sounds like Donald Trump. Oh my God.
All of us are going to be impacted by this. I said it last year when we had 15,000. I'm telling you now, with 110,000, the city we knew, we're about to lose.
Whoa! The city we knew we're about to lose. So are you saying that pouring in hundreds of thousands of people into a place changes that place and no longer makes the place the place you knew? Very wordy, but you know what I mean by that. Is Eric Adams now promoting the great replacement theory? Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
And we're all in this together. All of us. Staten Island saying, send them out to Manhattan. Manhattan is saying, send them out to Queens. Queens is saying, send them out to Brooklyn. No. It's not the game we can play. Open the floor up.
All right. So, I think that should tell you everything you need to know about Biden's immigration policy, about what neocons and neoliberals have been trying to do in terms of immigration for decades now. His honesty there should be taken seriously. Now that he is facing head on the problem that Republican America, specifically Texas and parts of Arizona, have had to deal with for a long time, he goes out there and makes some pretty bold statements. Keep that in mind. He doesn't just say, oh, well, you know, we don't know if we have the housing right now to deal with this. Can we, like, kind of break this up or figure something out? He says that illegal immigration is going to destroy, his words, New York City. He says the New York that we knew is no longer going to be New York because of illegal immigration. That should tell you everything you need to know about their immigration policy and what they're trying to do. The moment you get them to talk about it honestly, because they actually face the problem head on, whether that's New York City or Martha's Vineyard, as we saw last year, they're pretty blunt about what they want to do in terms of immigration, which is, yes, it's not even about having compassion for people who live in the third world. That is totally weaponized virtue. Even they don't care about that because they don't even want them in their own cities, right? What it is about is destroying this country and specifically destroying red states. That's why they want them to be in red states. That's why they say New York shouldn't have to deal with them. Martha's Vineyard shouldn't have to deal with them. Send them to Texas because Texas is not being overwhelmed. Have you seen the housing market in Texas? That's not an issue, of course, but they know this. The exact point is to send them to all of the red states to overwhelm them. And to a larger degree, again, this is not based on compassion. This is based on malice. They want to destroy a state like Texas. Okay, and this is particularly the playbook to destroy all of conservative America, which is they're going to send in millions of people here, and that's already going to have its own impact. Again, before future amnesty or any of that stuff was even mentioned, what does Eric Adams say? And I quote, "This type of stuff destroys a place and makes it unrecognizable to what it was before." That is, again, kind of agenda number one here. But agenda number two, and we've seen them do this before, so don't say this is conspiracy theory, because I can point, I'm about to, the points in U.S. history where this has happened a couple of years from now, when we have millions and millions of illegals, not just from the past few decades, but especially however many more are coming now under Biden. What are they going to say? They're going to look at a state like Texas and say, oh, well, guys, Texas has all these millions of illegals here. What are we going to do? Send them back? Send them back? What do you mean send them back? First of all, they have families, even though most of the people are fighting age men. Who cares? Most of them have families, and more importantly than that, they've built lives here, and we don't have the resources to send them all back. And then they'll say, okay. I guess the only solution is to give them all amnesty, right? This is exactly what's going to happen. This is the playbook long term. You're going to have millions of people here. They're going to say, well, nothing we can do. Might as well give them amnesty. And next thing you know, overnight, boom, Texas becomes a blue state. Because even if the domestic Tejanos there, even if the Hispanics on the border are turning more Republican, even if the people living in the suburbs and all that stuff are starting to get pissed about all of this, and hey, you see the trend actually reversing right now. Texas almost went blue in 2018. It's starting to trend back a little bit. Boom. Millions of illegals giving amnesty overnight. That's going to turn Texas into a blue state overnight. And again, this is not a conspiracy theory because they've already done this. Anyone who's familiar with the history of California knows this. California used to be a solidly Republican state. Ronald Reagan comes from none other than California. But what happened? In the 1980s, they did an amnesty. Millions of illegal immigrants in California received amnesty. And we know the story with California here today. This is the game plan they have done before. They're going to do it again. And again, that is particularly the intention. They want to destroy red states. In Eric Adams' own words, he wants to destroy Texas. And once Texas is destroyed, once Texas, again in his own words, is not the place that we knew, amnesty is given. Democrats have permanent political control, not just over a state like Texas, but given how it goes with electoral politics, the entire country. That is the plan here. And that is also why Biden believes this is good politics, and Democrats as a whole believe that this is a good thing, even though it's hurting them in the short term. Because don't get me wrong, a lot of people are pissed about the border, not just Republicans. Democrats don't really like what's going on at the border either. In fact, being against illegal immigration, if you look at polls, is one of the most popular positions in the entire country. Okay, Americans in general on both sides are actually a lot more immigration restrictionist than the mainstream political discourse will have you imagined. However, they know that even if this hurts them in the short term, even if kind of South Texas Hispanics, one of their once very solid demographics, is trending more Republican because of it, in the long term, you know, even if we lose a few congressional seats here and there, permanent political control for Democrats. Okay. It's funny. I heard Bill Maher the other day saying, why are they doing this? This isn't good politics. I don't understand why the Democrats don't get this. Well, Bill, the reason why your party is doing it is because, again, they know this is going to destroy the country. They want it particularly to destroy Republican America. And what does it guarantee? Permanent political control. So that's what this is really about. And if you ever have doubts about that, listen to what Democrats literally say about these policies when they actually affect the places they live. You will hear no more honest take about mass immigration and illegal immigration than Eric Adams when migrants actually show up to his city, or the residents of Martha's Vineyard when they actually show up there. They very particularly, intentionally, and maliciously want it to be Texas's problem. They want it to be Republican America's problem. And that is, of course, the truth. As we wrap up our opening story here for tonight, let us move on here now to Super Chats. Actually, really quickly, maybe I should play this. I was going to do a video on this, which I still will, but let us play this really quickly because you guys need to see this, okay? Here is The View running cover. Of course, The View, who called Donald Trump xenophobic and all the names and races for warning borders for the past 4 years, when he was president. Here's The View defending what Eric Adams said about illegal immigration, and I quote, destroying New York City. Here we go.
But frankly, I think we need to find, and we've dealt with this before. I lived in Miami. I was an immigrant in Miami in the 80s. You'll remember when we had the Mariel boat lift. Yes. 125,000 Cubans came in a matter of 6 months. It puts tremendous stress on a city, on a community, on the social services. They need to be resettled elsewhere.
They need to be out. We're this massive country.
Why? You guys call yourself a sanctuary city. By the way, they filmed this in New York, I'm pretty sure. You guys call yourselves a sanctuary city. Why should they be resettled elsewhere? And if they're going to be resettled elsewhere, you know where they should be resettled? The country where they came from. They are illegal immigrants. They shouldn't be in our country. Anyways.
Well, and it's only going to get worse with global warming and climate change because people can't live in certain parts of this world.
Okay, you guys got that? Average Joy Behar take. You guys got that? The reason why you need to embrace open borders is because people need somewhere to live because climate change is ruining where they live. You got that? You know what? We should start saying that. I'm going to show up to some millionaire's mansion in West Palm Beach, Florida. Excuse me. What do you want? Why are you at my door? I need to live here because climate change destroyed my house. I'm going to say that. We should all just start saying that. Anyway, so that said, ladies and gentlemen, let us get caught up here on our super chats, which again, if you would like to super chat the show tonight, it is our 100th anniversary and we've not streamed basically all week. Feel free to do so. All super chats will be read here on the stream, but let's get into our super chats, ladies and gentlemen. First off, we got Dirty Mike for $5 who says, I was part of a research team that includes your school. It's called Shrek. So you and I are basically kin. Have you heard of it? I have not heard of Shrek at UF. I've heard of Innovation Academy. I've not heard of Shrek. But I'm also not an engineering guy, so I don't know. One of my friends is in engineering, so maybe he would know what it is. But I'm not familiar with Shrek. Thank you for the $5, though, Dirty Mike. I appreciate it very much. Let us move on here. Robert Sparkman for $2 says, Vince, do you think young Obama played with My Little Pony? Well, I'm going to say no only because I don't think My Little Pony existed when Obama was young. But young Obama did definitely play with a lot of interesting things. And like I said, we're going to talk about that story here later tonight. Thank you for the $2. And Sheeny Beanie for $2 says, now they see that Michelle is actually Michael. Thank you for the $2. Well, like I said, you know, maybe there's something to be said there. Thank you for the $2. Sheeny Beanie, I appreciate it very much. Of course, we're joking, YouTube, of course, okay? Michelle Obama is a stunning, beautiful, feminine woman, and I would never suggest otherwise. You suggest otherwise? What do you mean? What do you mean? You don't think Michelle Obama and Lizzo and every queen are beautiful women? How dare you guys? Thanks for the super chat, Sheeny Beanie. And Burgundy Blue, whoa, for $50. Let's go, Burgundy Blue. Thank you very much. Good to see you, man. Says, happy 100th episode, Vince. It has really been great watching your channel grow over the past 2 years. Also, I swear as a New Yorker, my family has countless stories about Ecuadorian children being abandoned by their parents, begging for money on the subway. Sad. Thank you for the $50. Burgundy Blue, big shout out there. And, well, Burgundy Blue, don't you know? They're sending their best. They're sending their best. Illegal immigrants are much more virtuous people than you. And, you know, that's just family values, obviously, Burgundy Blue. Don't you know? Don't you know? Right? Just as American as apple pie, everyone. So, it's true. But thank you for the $50, Burgundy Blue. I appreciate it very much. Sheeny Beanie for $5 says, the view is proof that you can add up the IQ points of 5 people and still end at a negative number. Well, this is very true. This is very true. You know, I'm really surprised the view is still on the air. Like, I get it, you know, it's not even just a matter of, you know, I understand fully that people, there are liberals in this country. Obviously, there are liberal shows. But who watches The View? Legitimately, guys, has anyone thought of, like, I don't know how they're still on the air. Who watches that show? I understand the people who watch CNN or MSNBC. I understand the people who watch the online left-wing podcasts, who watch, I don't know, Hassan Piker, Young Turks, stuff like that, Bill Maher, whatever. I do not know a single person. I've never even seen a single person who's a legitimate fan of The View. Who watches that show? Oh, housewives watch that show, Vince. Well, of course, it was originally intended for that, but it's not a housewife show anymore. It's just people rambling about politics during the... I don't understand their business model, truly. I don't understand how that show still gets viewership, and I don't understand how it's not been canceled yet. Because I feel like the only reason why anyone ever sees The View is because conservatives make fun of the stupid things that they say. I don't understand who watches that show. Does anyone know? Let's play a game like that. Does anyone know a single human being, family, friend, whatever, who watches The View? I know people who watch CNN, older like people, right? I know Bill Maher fans. I know some people who still like Saturday Night Live and all the stupid late night shows that suck, but I know people who are into that. I never have once in my life ever met someone who liked The View, even witnessed it. So how do they have the budget to stay on the air like that? I don't know. It's a good question. It's a good. I want an investigation into this, frankly. Like, what is the views ratings? Who is watching it? Because it legitimately piques my curiosity. Because I cannot think of anyone who watched that show. I don't understand the appeal of that show. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. I feel like it's operating at a loss and they just don't want to cut it because it would be a bad look politically. But I honestly have no idea. See, everyone in chat, they're saying literally no. I never even heard of The View until right now. The View is literally #1 in daytime TV, fills the time slot. Well, okay. All right. I guess. I don't know. You know, okay, TMZ. Yeah, I understand people who watch TMZ and that stuff. I'm just saying I've never once in my life even met someone who watches The View, okay? I guess bored people watch daytime TV and they'll just watch whatever. Okay, I get that. Maybe The View comes on. But the show has no actual fans. It doesn't. So I don't know. I don't know. And has it always even been a political show? Like, I thought it started out as just being a housewife show, and now, I don't know. Whatever. All right, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the Super Chats. Again, if you would like to Super Chat tonight to support the show, feel free to do so. Again, episode 100, if you want to send us in an anniversary gift. Well, that said, folks, let us move on here to our other stories. We've got to talk about some of the Vivek Ramaswamy drama, because like I said at the beginning of the show, now that he is becoming more high profile, and rightfully so, this is how it should be. Now the questions are starting to come out. Now people are addressing his past with more scrutiny, and this is what everyone has to do. But I do here want to react to a couple different things. First of all, I want to react to MSNBC calling him out on accepting a law school scholarship from the Soros Foundation back in the day. So let's react to it.
You told me 24-year-old should take 2009 and 2010. You made $750,000. You had the money to pay for law school. You didn't need a Soros affirmative action scholarship that you now criticize.
So if you don't know the backstory here, I guess I should probably contextualize it before I just play it. Okay. Vivek, when he was in law school, received a scholarship from, I think it was the Paul Soros Foundation or something like that. He claims that he just got the scholarship. You know, there's no connection to George Soros. I just got the scholarship because I needed a scholarship. And I guess that in itself is not super damning. I mean, you know, when I was in high school, I applied for a lot of stupid scholarships just to get the money too. A lot of people do that. Okay, whatever, it is what it is. But when you vet his history, I guess this is the red flag, the question people are asking. Apparently, he was already doing a hedge fund and already making a lot of money when he received the scholarship, and I guess that's what this kind of the back and forth is about. All right, that said, let's listen.
None of this is worthy, but if you think it is, let's get to the detail. That was actually the first big piece of money. You say you're anti-affirmative action. You took a scholarship for immigrants. I'm anti-affirmative action. So why'd you take a scholarship for the children of immigrants? Which falsehood would you like me to address? The financial one or the one about my views on affirmative action? Because I can go in whichever order you'd like.
Did you not make $750,000?
On the financial piece of it. Not at the time that I had applied for the scholarship that fall.
Yes, you did.
That December.
Yes, you did, Vivek. This is awkward for you because you did. I've got the tax returns in front of my face.
No, it's not awkward for you. Yes.
Hold on, you told me to look at them.
All right, so that's part one. Here's part two.
What is the Vivek Ramaswamy method? What's been sort of amazing to me is, like, I feel like he's set some sort of Olympian record of glibness. Just like everything is just like, well, I would simply do this. This is so easy. It's like everything is easy. Everything's obvious. Like, and it's like, well, no, not everything's that obvious. What
That's kind of a nerd take.
What is your takeaway from going toe-to-toe with him?
The takeaway I had is that there are two big issues with Ramaswamy. One is, what is his qualification to be president of the United States?
Fair
and the other
question.
is, can we trust anything he says? And those were the two themes I stuck to. He was a little irked by that. He did the kind of, oh, these are gotchas. Why can't we talk about substance? But my point is, why would I want to discuss the details of your peace plan for Ukraine before we first establish whether you should be president, right? Like, anyone can say, I've got a plan for Ukraine. You go on the internet right now, 100 people have opinions on Ukraine. The issue is, why this guy? What's he going to do about it? How can we trust him? And I think, you know, what I tried to do, I asked him about, you know, he used to criticize Trump And now he doesn't, because he probably wants to be Trump's vice president. So I put that to him. And, you know, the Soros stuff you just played. This is a man who attacks George Soros. He took a scholarship from the Soros family, from Soros's brother, an affirmative action scholarship, which he claims to hate. And then he said, I didn't have the money for it. And I challenged him. And he said, I never said that. That's another thing he does, Chris. He just denies things that are on tape.
Interesting. I'm also not going to really use MSNBC as a be-all, end-all source, although a lot of people on the right wing have said this too. So here's my take on all of that. Okay, first of all, on receiving the scholarship from Soros. My, I guess, concern is not that he necessarily just did that, because when you're going through law school, oh, let's apply for this stupid scholarship to just get it. I mean, a lot of people do that, right? Like, I don't think that in itself is really damning in itself. It's actually kind of based when you think about it. Like, he stole money from Soros and their stupid affirmative action thing for himself to actually, like, divert resources away from the rest of... Like, that's actually kind of funny to me, you know? But there is a legitimate concern over the fact that it does seem he wasn't the most transparent about that whole situation. You know, I do wish he would have just been a little bit, I guess, more honest about it, because I think they have looked into this. Even right-wingers have looked into this, and the timeline is true. When he took that scholarship, from my understanding, some of you guys can correct me if you're wrong, if I'm wrong on this, because I'm not the Vivek researcher here. Like, I don't care about all this little stuff, but from what I've discerned, it is actually true that he was pretty wealthy already when he took this scholarship. Now, with that said, you know, that in itself, like I said, I still don't really care. Because just because you're making a lot of money doesn't mean you can't still take scholarships or financial aid for law school. I mean, why wouldn't you, after all? Law school is still pretty expensive no matter how rich you are. Why not try to pay as little as possible? A lot of people, the reason why they are rich is because they're kind of good about saving money and finding ways to save. So that's like whatever. That's like whatever. And I don't necessarily think, I know some people do, I don't really buy the idea that Vivek is a plant of Soros. Like George Soros is planting this guy to run for president. I think that's a little bit far out there. However, there probably is something to be said over, can we really trust the guy in terms of just being a fully honest and transparent person? It is true. Yeah, he probably has told some lies on this campaign trail. True. It's probably partly true that some of his past, whether that's taking the Soros scholarship, which, like I said, in itself, I don't really care that much about. But again, you got to be honest about it too. And I don't think it seems that he's not being the most honest about it, which I get it. It's politics, whatever. He's trying to downplay it. Although I would honestly respect him if he said, yeah, I was wealthy and I still took that scholarship because A, you know, do the Donald Trump thing. A, I'm good with the money. And B, I robbed George Soros of their fortune. So who cares? Like, honestly, that would be a fine response to me. But I get it. Maybe that's not optical, whatever. But there is something to be said about, is he being honest about it? That's still an open question. But my take on him overall is whether or not I fully trust him, I don't think it's because he's like de facto controlled opposition. I don't buy this whole idea that he's literally a plant. Oh yeah, George Soros just planted a guy to run for president for the Republicans who's not going to win, but is going to say all of the things that are actually pushing the Overton window in the right direction and actually bringing a lot of solid new conservative ideas to the discussion. I just don't really buy that. However, I am totally open. I'm not going to say I'm really decided on this because I'm not, but I am totally open to the idea that just in terms of his character, maybe he is a bit of an opportunist. That's possible. Maybe, again, like I said, I don't think he's a plant. I don't think anyone planted him. But maybe to a degree, he does pander to the base. And what are his actual beliefs? Is he just saying things that people want to hear, or are they sincerely held beliefs? Again, I think that is sincere. I think that is something that is very valid to be interested in and concerned about. So that's kind of my take on that. Anyways, let us keep moving on here with some of this Vivek stuff, because he's also facing some criticism from the right wing. So let us take a look here. This week, he also did an interview with Anomaly. Now, if you don't know about Anomaly, he's a YouTuber. He's made a few songs and stuff. But the big thing about Anomaly is he doesn't really trust Trump or Vivek because he thinks both are kind of, I guess, to a sense, controlled opposition. He's very skeptical about some of the big pharma stuff. And it is, like I said, this, I would say, is a genuine concern about the fact that Vivek, again, was a big pharma CEO. And here he is kind of grilling him on that. And let's react to it and kind of hear it out, okay?
Those are areas where I was on the bleeding edge. I'll give credit to people like you who were ahead on spotting the risks of the COVID policies on vaccines in particular.
Yeah,
we just got to be right to move it forward, though.
I didn't even finish college. I mean, I'm not stupid. I dropped out to pursue my career. But in general, I believe it was a third grade math equation, a lot of this stuff. So why do you think I was able to figure it out, but not you, not Trump? I believe it was because at the time you were working in the biotech pharmaceutical industry. So that's what you were doing. You were focused on sucking up money, advancing your company. You weren't really concerned with what we were dealing with or the truth about it. Because if I can do it with a calculator, I think you could have done it or Trump could have done it. But Trump hired Alex Azar, a pharmacy executive lobbyist. Trump took $1 million from Pfizer. Trump had meetings with Bill Gates in 2018 where Bill Gates told him about modernizing flu vaccines. And in 2019, before the pandemic, Trump passed an executive order for that. So I don't think that I'm so smart that I just had the foresight. I think that I actually care. And Trump was being a politician that I believe sold out to Big Pharma. And I think you were working with Big Pharma. So I don't think I had insight. I just think you care now because you're running for president.
No, I mean, I think everybody wears their different hats and has their perspectives of what they're focused on. I was in the middle of writing Woke Inc., which is my first book. I was not writing a book about the lockdown policy. So where I was going deep was on the woke industrial complex as it related to corporate America. Keep in mind, I had just stepped down from my job as a biotech CEO precisely because I had to make statements or on behalf of Black Lives Matter, as every biotech CEO was browbeaten to do.
Which is legitimate. I would say that. I do not inherently distrust him because he comes from Big Pharma. In the same sense, I don't inherently distrust Donald Trump just because he came from the world of the elites and then now is talking against the elites, right? A similar argument could be made of, well, and they did make this argument in 2016 about Trump. A lot of the other Republicans did, which is that, look, you used to be buddy-buddy with the Clintons. Look, you used to be buddy-buddy with all these Democrats, so how can we trust you now? So my take is that just because someone comes from the system does not necessarily mean that they can't be kind of one of those outsiders who now speaks out against the system. So I will say that in fairness. However, like I said, it still does have to make you ask a lot of questions, does it not? He did just come from Big Pharma a couple years ago. On one hand, that may be a very good thing. There's an angle to which it can be a good thing because he understands the world inside and out. That's part of the Donald Trump argument, right? Which is, look, yeah, he used to be the elite. Yeah, he, used to hang out with the Clintons and he cheated the tax code legally and all that stuff. That's why he should be the president because he understands and all that. But still, you can't say you don't have a little bit of uneasiness about it. And like I said, I don't think it's necessarily that he's bad or malicious or purposely trying to subvert the party or whatever. But I do have the concern. I'm not saying I'm settled on it because I'm not, but it's just lingering in the back of my head. I do have the concern. It's possible. I'm not saying he is, just saying it's possible. And this is what people who support him do have to look out for, is that he might be a little bit of an opportunist, Because that's what I see more so, when people look to his past and maybe how he changed. Hey, look, you took a scholarship from Soros and then you used to work for Big Pharma, but now you claim to be against these things, blah, 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 that whole song and dance. I don't necessarily see a guy who literally was planted, like he's always a CIA plant to subvert the conservative movement. That's a little bit far out, but I do see potentially an opportunistic guy. A guy who's always looking for the leg up, always looking for the opportunity. That could be a good thing. It could, because we need to be a country, we need to be ran as a country by people who are always looking out for the best opportunity for the country. However, it's a double-edged sword because who is he being an opportunist for? So like I said, I don't have a verdict on that. I don't know. But I think it's something you gotta be concerned about and ask questions about. I'm not as anti-Vivek as Anomaly is. I wouldn't even say I'm anti him at all. But I'm also not as... I'm not going to vote for him in the primary. I'm not committing to that, and I probably won't commit to that. I plan to vote for Donald Trump, right? Because even though I do like a lot of the things he says, and I do think a lot of the ideas he's putting out there are good for the Overton window, I'm not fully sold on him in all regards, you know? And I think that's a fair take. I think that's a healthy skepticism a lot of people should have. But anyways, let's continue.
Refused to do it. And yes, I have made sacrifices to advance my own convictions. That was a real trade-off. You take a big trade-off, but you want to speak your mind openly. That was the area where I was most focused at the time, but paying attention to what was going on because I wasn't a policymaker. But all I would say is you're right. Your criticisms of me, your criticisms of Trump, be even-handed. I mean, Ron DeSantis has called Ron DeSantis, called Fauci during that period. And I respect him for changing his mind, but called him a really, really, really good job and really, really good ally. Every Republican politician who's running for office has made some cringeworthy statements about COVID and should be held to account for it.
Right.
For my part.
Which is also true. And someone in chat says Trump also accepted a $160 million donation from Soros. I don't believe that's valid criticism of Trump, but it's just ironic when people for Trump use it for Vivek. And that's fair, big man. That is fair. That's why I'm a little bit like, I don't know if I hate it so much in itself, but it like I said, I think the thing I'm just more concerned about is a pattern of opportunistic seemingly behavior, right? But you are right about that. And I do think it's also true. People will point out, oh, he lied about this. This is shady pass of that. What you say and what Vivek says is also true, which is you got to put it into perspective. Look at the rest of the field. The rest of the field, besides him and Trump, are all just career politicians. And, you know, and they all are like that. You know what I'm saying? So it is true. It is. And I think we should have that perspective. However, I think what also makes it a little bit different is people are selling Vivek as the one who is different from all the other politicians, even different from Trump, right? Total open book, totally, you know, clean and all that. And I don't know if that's necessarily true either, you know? But like I said, I think it's fair to be balanced about it. And I think your argument is valid that, yeah, I mean, if we're going to attack Vivek for taking money from Soros when he was 20-something years old or however old he was, then yeah, it is valid to also say, what about this? What about that? And I think that's fair too.
I'm willing to be man enough to actually say it. And I wish that other people should too. And the only way we're going to do is by setting an example. So I'm not perfect. I'm going to say that honestly.
I'm even-handed on it, I promise you. I want to say too, you stepped down as a chairman in 2023 from your pharmaceutical company, right? In 2023?
Right before I ran for president is when I stepped off the board. I stepped down as CEO in January of 2021.
Okay, but you were on the board in 2023, right? Before you
I was one of the 10 board members or so.
Yeah, and in 2022, your company partnered with Pfizer to create a new company, correct?
Yeah, the whole business model of the company I founded was to pick up drugs that other companies had abandoned or left behind. And so there's one deal of some drug that Pfizer was developing that Roivant took over some rights to. I was on the board, not involved with it. But, you know, there was a separate deal that the company had done with Pfizer longer ago, back when I was CEO too. It's probably about 200 deals the company has done. It's a licensing business. And so that's exactly how it worked.
Yeah, not my favorite company, but I understand that's the
not mine either. Not mine either.
Feel free to watch the.
All right, so there's that little clip. I mean, you guys can go watch the full thing if you want. Like I said, I think I'm just neutral on all of this. You know, I don't entirely distrust him, but I don't entirely trust him. And I know people don't like a fence-sitting take. They want you to have an opinion, and oh wow, for once Vince Dow doesn't really have an opinion. But that is the truth. That is the truth. I think I'm just kind of waiting and seeing how it all plays out on that front regarding him. You know, there's an angle to which all of this works out for the best long term, whatever his future is in the party. I don't know, because he really was a guy from the inside who, like Donald Trump, rebelled and became the guy from the outside. But there's also the angle to which, you got to be a little careful. You can see a little bit of that opportunistic tendency, right? Like I said, I think everyone just has to be healthily skeptical about it. Is what I would just conclude about it, you know? That's what I would conclude. But let's read some of the chat's actually opinions on this, because, you know, I want to hear what some of you guys have to say. Vasco Zuzo says, Vivek talks at length about his time dealing with Big Pharma. If you have any uneasiness, listen to him. It's a little pointless wondering and speculating when he has explained what he did. Well, like we listen to Vivek on this channel all the time. And obviously his side of it, he's good at articulating stuff and all of that. Like I said, I just think, you know, you gotta be, I think healthy skepticism is good as a conservative, because we've been sold a false bill of goods about a lot of different people. Okay, let me just say that. How many times have you seen so-and-so be the hottest next new thing and then they totally blow up in flames, metaphorically speaking? It's happened. So I think any new figure you see, you shouldn't be so schizophrenic about it where you're like, he's a Soros plant and he's CIA and this, like, yeah, that's a little bit, so sometimes it can get a little bit just, okay, really, dude? Like, can you at a certain point, it's like a tinfoil hat thing. I get it. But at the same time, I think it's healthy to be a little bit skeptical and ask the hard questions and kind of, you know, see how you feel about them. I don't know. Like I said, that's just my take on it. I mean, you guys are free to have your own. I still plan to vote Trump 2024. So that's part of why I also feel like it's okay to have a fence-sitting take, because I think it's perfectly fair to just let the dust settle and see where it all falls and see kind of where he goes, because I'm kind of a third party to that. Kind of just watching, you know? Now, if 2028 comes around and he's still around, which he may very well be, not saying he will, but he could be, then he becomes a more serious candidate in terms of he may actually be the president. Then I might have to make up my mind. But I think for now, it's fine to sit on the fence. It's fine to just see how it all falls. And, you know, maybe with 4 to 5 more years of knowing him, because let's be real, I mean, he's not going to win the primary realistically, right? Then you can have a more strong verdict. He just came on the scene. It's fair to be skeptical of a guy who literally just showed up, you know? So I think that's fair. Anyways, Zachary for $10, thank you very much, says, another point on that type of argument. You already are going to have whatever stolen from you by affirmative action, so you have a right to steal it back. Thank you for the $10, Zachary. And yeah, like I said, there's an angle to which I'd be totally fine with it, you know? Maybe that's me. Maybe that's a bad character thing on me. Maybe you should be totally principled about all that stuff. But it's like, I mean, I'll say this. When I was in high school, I applied for and won a scholarship that it was not a left-wing scholarship. Let me be clear about that. It was not like some BLM scholarship, but it was a diversity scholarship meant for Asians. Right? It was an Asian scholarship or whatever. And I think they gave me $1,000 or something like that. I don't even really remember. It wasn't a big one, but I thought the scholarship in itself was stupid. And I remember having to sit in the whole cultural whatever ceremony, and it was called AAPI, which I can't stand that label, and it was kind of stupid, but I sucked it up and took the money. It was $1,000 when I was in high school. Was that morally right of me? You could make an argument, well, if you semi-disagreed with the premise of the scholarship, then maybe you shouldn't have taken it, I guess. Maybe. But at the same time, I was a kid applying for school, and, you know, what does everyone else do when they apply for school? They get all the aid they can, they get all the scholarships they can, you know. I'm on scholarship where I go to college now. My parents more than could afford to put me through school. But I instead choose to take a merit scholarship that I won, and that pays for all of my college, right? I don't know. Like I said, I don't think that's the biggest deal in itself. By the way, when he was in his 20s, do you really... And by the way, also keep in mind, this was before the whole George Soros thing was mainstream. Now, if you were truly woke on it, I don't want to use that word, but if you were truly tuned into it, then you would have known that George Soros has been doing this stuff for decades. But keep in mind, this is like pre-2016. This is pre even him becoming the big pariah that he is known to be now, you know? So, was it opportunistic? Yes. Is it the most damning thing? Not in my eyes. But I don't know. I don't know. But it is true. Thank you for the $10, Zachary, though. I appreciate it very much. Arnie for $5 says, what is your position on admitting Christians from the Middle East? It's an issue that neocons are opportunists. It's an issue neocons are opportunist about with Catholics and evangelicals. Thank you for the $5, Arnie. I mean, admittedly, I have much less of a problem with it than I do some of the other types of resettlement that we do. But generally speaking, I think they should really look to Europe or maybe parts of Africa, but I would say probably Western and Eastern Europe. I think that's primarily the place that people should look into refugee resettlement for first, if you're a persecuted Christian in the Middle East. I don't have a problem with letting in minor amounts, you know, small amounts here and there. I'd much rather have persecuted Christians coming into our country than whatever nonsense system we're doing now. But I think if we are to do it, we need to be careful about how many. You know, it's one thing to let in a couple thousand, and it's another thing to let in a couple 100,000. So I think it really has to do with the amount and the number. And anytime we do this resettlement, we end up just letting in way too many people, and it overwhelms a place. And so I would say if you can do it cleanly, then fine. But, you know, you need to actually do it responsibly. The other thing is, we're realistically never going to let in a lot, because why? They'd probably be Republicans. They'd probably support more conservative ideas. I mean, I know quite a few, for instance, Lebanese Catholics who are Republicans. They're very Republican. They're very conservative and all that stuff. Because they're persecuted for being Catholic in the Middle East. And now they're here and they're all about it and they're all our friends and stuff. But, you know, realistically, that's actually the last on the list of refugees that they would want resettled in America for obvious reasons. So, I don't know. Anyways, with that said, folks, yeah, let's get the stream to 100 likes. Everyone leave a like on the stream right now. And let us move on here to some of our last stories tonight. It's almost 9 o'clock, so we're doing good on time. All right. Now it's going to get a little less serious as we go on in the night, ladies and gentlemen. But I do got to talk about this. Vince, why are you talking about this? It's not even serious. Not even a story. Don't give this a time of day. No. We got to talk about this, okay? This week, Tucker Carlson debuted an expose interview with a man who alleges that he had gay sex with Barack Obama in the 1990s. Let's take a listen to the trailer here.
You're just a guy who's in town for the night, and it sounds like you're looking to party.
Yeah. Pulled up in a bar outside, and there's this guy that's introduced to me as Barack Obama. I had given Barack $250 to pay for coke. I start putting a line on a CD tray to snort, and next thing I know, he's got a little pipe and he's smoking. So I just started rubbing my hand along his thigh to see where it was going, and it went the direction I had intended it to go.
Even though you had sex with him twice, you did cocaine with him, watched him smoke crack twice, you had no idea who he was.
I had no idea who he was.
You just asked the obvious question, what was Obama like on crack? Is it your sense that that's who Obama is, just transactional, or that he's bisexual, or like what is this?
It definitely wasn't Barack's first time, and I would almost be willing to bet you it wasn't his last.
The guy's running for president, and credible information comes out that he's smoking crack and having sex with dudes. That seems like a story.
Well, it would be a story if the media really cared about telling people the truth.
Barack O'Sussy, folks. Zesty Obama. President Zest. President Sus. It's so real. All right. Okay, so let's obviously address this. You know what I see from that story? My reaction to it? I think it's funny. Okay? I think it's hilarious. It's a hilarious story to run with. Why not? It's kind of a meme. And if I were to tell you the honest truth, I think that's how Tucker Carlson sees it too. It's like, let me do a little bit of trolling. Let me platform this guy and interview him, and they'll get very mad at me for it, and it'll be funny. It'll be epic, right? But I did see quite a few people on the right wing taking this whole debacle way too seriously. In the sense that they said, why are right-wingers giving this the time of day? This is hearsay. This is a stupid story. It's not even really news. It's not even relevant in today's politics. And to a degree, I'll give you that. I will give you that. Because it's not the 1990s anymore. Now, should a personal morality story like that ideally matter in politics? Of course it should. But I'm not naive either. I understand, like, okay, wow. Politicians having, sodomizing each other and doing cocaine. Well, just another day in DC. Okay, I get all that. I do get that. And it is hearsay, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, it's funny. Okay, like, what do you want me to do? Like, of course we're going to run with that. Of course we're going to meme this to death because it's hilarious. And I don't know why some of you conservatives can't just learn to laugh at it and go along with the jokes, okay? Guys, this is the memo, okay? We are memeing Barack Obama. We are calling Obama sus. We're calling him zesty. We're making jokes about who he's married to. Okay, same old thing. It's funny. Can you all just not learn to laugh at it? Okay? No one is saying this is the biggest story in the history of politics. Okay, Obama's not even president anymore. He's not going to be president again. We get it. But it is objectively a funny and hilarious thing to laugh at. And if you disagree with me, if you don't think it's funny, fine. And you don't have to engage in the memeing Barack Obama thing. But I don't think you have to counter signal it either. Okay? Can you just go along with it? This is the same, like, are you going to write, and because I see people on Twitter writing these essays about it. Okay, every time that we call Michelle Obama as a man, we call Michelle Obama a man, maybe there's something to be said there. Kidding, of course. But primarily, what is it? It's kind of satirical, right? It's a joke. We're screwing around. Even if people do legitimately believe it, it's still said to be funny, to do a little bit of trolling. Honestly, to me, I know the birther scandal when I was a kid was a very big thing. But to me, that also is a meme. It's funny. Like, yeah, Barack Obama is married to a man and not born in the United States. I just get a kick out of all of it. I think it's a funny thing to run with. Same thing on this. I don't know why it has to be that serious. But that's my thoughts on the Tucker Carlson story. I don't think it's the most serious thing. I just think it's funny. I just think it's hilarious. All right, last thing I do want to talk about tonight on the topic of comedy. Let's talk about a severe lack of comedy. So as you know, right now, there's a Hollywood writer's strike going on. Late night shows, TV shows, movies. Nothing is able to film in Hollywood because the Hollywood writers are on strike. And apparently, the quote-unquote comedians, not really comedians, we'll call them late night hosts, of Hollywood have all banded together to create a comedy super show podcast. Okay, folks? So apparently we have Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Fallon, Seth Meyers, and John Oliver, and Jimmy Kimmel have all joined together to make a podcast. In theory, you would think this should be the magnus opus of comedy, right? Because all the funniest people on TV, quote unquote, are together doing a podcast. Well, let's take a listen here, okay? Let's take a listen to their new podcast that they're debuting here.
One more time, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Fallon.
I'm Stephen Colbert.
I'm Jimmy Kimmel. I thought when you said Jimmy, you meant me, Jimmy, but you meant Jimmy.
I always mean you.
But when you say
always mean...
Aren't we wheezing right now? Oh my gosh, bro. I'm literally dying right now. For real, for real. I see 0 comedians on the screen. Okay? This is the state of late night TV. These are comedians coming together. It's not even monologuing. They're able to play off of each other. And these are supposed to be the funniest people in America. And listen to them be literally so funny for 30 seconds.
Seth Meyers, who do you mean?
I mean John Oliver.
It's the 5 of us together for maybe an hour a day.
Strike Force 5 is the name of our podcast. Subscribe to it now.
Spotify or wherever else you get your podcasts. But Spotify, you fucks. One more time.
Ha ha! And John Oliver is the funniest one of them all. All right, let's play a game here, chat. All right. So you see 5 people on the screen here, right? Can we spot the comedian? Let's play that game. Does anyone see a single comedian on the screen? Let's play the Jeopardy music. Dun 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 dun. Ding ding ding. All right, the verdict is in. There are 0 funny people on the screen. All right. So there's the state of late night comedy for you. And by the way, let me say this before people say, Vince, you just don't like them because you're a liberal. Because they're a liberal, I mean. Sorry, I'm getting freaking tired here. Oh my gosh, I'm a liberal, guys. Exposed. Like I said, I'm getting freaking tired. It's been a long week. That's not true. Because there are liberals who sometimes can be funny. I will admit this. I will honestly admit this, okay? I've watched some of Bill Maher's podcasts. He is sometimes funny. I sometimes do genuinely laugh at him, okay? But none of these people are funny. These are like the least funny people you've ever seen. And somehow they've been promoted to being the top comedians in America. John Oliver. What has John Oliver ever done or said that was funny? Stephen Colbert is not even a comedian, you know? I suppose a stronger case could be made for, say, a Jimmy Fallon. But still, I'm just not impressed. Not impressed. Neither with Jimmy Kimmel. And it's fun. It's interesting to me how they managed to form the Avengers of the least funny people. Because like I said, Bill Maher can make me laugh. Conan can make me laugh. But they somehow have formed the Avengers of unfunny comedians. So there it is, folks. Just is everyone really excited? I hope you guys are very excited. This is going to be the greatest podcast ever. Okay? And haha, it's funny because they're on a Zoom call, right? It's funny because they can't figure out how to work the technology. Haha, isn't that so funny? Aren't you literally wheezing right now? This is the state of comedy in our country. All right, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, it's getting late. Let's move on here to our Super Chat / Q&A portion. And let's wrap up the show for tonight. So we're now open to our Super Chats. I'll read Super Chats and regular chat until about 9:15, 9:20. And then I'll probably go to bed. Because it's been an exhausting week here, folks. But let us get into this. Okay, Zachary for $5 says, gotta go now. Work starts at 4 a.m. tomorrow, and I gotta get ready for bed. Well, that's true. I should probably be getting ready for bed right now, but it is true. Thank you for the $5, Zachary. I appreciate it very much. Scuffed Ryan Gosling for $5 says, Big Mike is seething. So true. So true. Thank you for the $5. Scuffed Ryan Gosling. And he or she definitely is. Definitely is. All right. You did grow a hippie beard. How do I have a hippie beard? All right. I know I did. I actually shaved the sides. I'm kind of torn on it. Because the sides were connecting, but it was not as dense. So I was like, okay, let's try the goatee thing. I don't know. I'm kind of torn on it. I might just grow back the sides. But how do I have a hippie beard? It's not like down here. It's not like a freaking... Is this what we're doing? I have a hippie beard? Alright, well, I guess that's a new thing. I have a hippie beard. Romans 5:8 says, where's James Corden? Oh, yeah, they need one more unfunny person on the screen. Legitimately. This is so true. Vince Dow, I found the sanitizer that kills 100% of germs. That's probably quite dangerous, to tell you the truth. The cringy Avengers. So real. So real. You should go with a Wolverine look. What does that even mean? The Wolverine look. Are you talking about what's his face in the movie? Okay, I Google Wolverine and of course it shows the actual Wolverine animal. Let's take a look. He did look pretty cool in Logan. Let's see. This is what people think wrong tab. Hold on. All right, whatever. This is what people think I should look like. Okay, well, he has, like, thick sides and nothing here. I feel like it looks cool on him, but me, I just look like Abraham Lincoln. People be like, oh, why are you doing an Abraham Lincoln beard? Why do your chops look like that? But this is real. This is real. I have the same density on the sides. I feel like there's a perfect point between suave and homeless and hippie. This is very true. This is very true. But let's take a look here. They need Amy Schumer for the token unfunny woman. What has Amy Schumer been doing? I haven't heard the name Amy Schumer since probably 2017. What is she up to? Last time she was in a movie was 2022, apparently. Apparently she was going to be in the Barbie movie. Apparently Amy Schumer was going to be in the Barbie movie. Could you imagine if Amy Schumer was in the Barbie movie? Not that I didn't watch it anyway, for the record. But imagine if Amy Schumer was in it. Oh my gosh, that would be terrible. That would be terrible. Okay? No, Amy Schumer should have been Barbie. Who'd they have play it? Margot Robbie? That's not very inclusive of them. Amy Schumer should have been the big, beautiful Barbie. Okay? Truly should have been. They dodged a bullet. Yeah, the movie would not have been nearly as successful as it was if Amy Schumer was the Barbie. Okay? Which the movie really shouldn't have been as successful as it was anyway, because, again, so many of you men should not have been watching the Barbie movie. Again, it is a Barbie movie. Why did so many men go watch it? I don't know. But regardless, I guarantee a lot less men at least wouldn't have watched it if, you know, if Amy Schumer was the Barbie. So I think that's what they should have done. I think that's what they should have done. All right? I endorse, you know, in Barbie too, I think you need Amy Schumer. Amy Schumer and Lizzo, okay? You need Amy Schumer and Lizzo. Those are the main character Barbies. The BB Barbies. Big, beautiful Barbies. Okay? That's what they should have done. That's what they should have done. Vince thinks they should have Stacey Abrams play Barbie. That would be a spectacle. That would be a spectacle, to say the least. Question, Vince. I was wondering if you have any opinion on Indian Prime Minister Narendra. Is that how you say his first name? Modi. I don't know a lot about Indian politics, but from everything I've seen, I generally think Modi's a decent leader. I'm generally a decent fan of him. But, you know, some people have told me, no, he's kind of a globalist, whatever. But everything I've seen, everything I've understood about him, he's a pretty right-wing nationalistic guy. And, you know, he's definitely better than the left-wing. I know in India, he's the main party, and then you have the left-wing party ran by Gandhi's great-grandson or something. That's a socialist party, whatever. So he definitely is not the worst world leader out there. And from everything I've seen, I'm generally a fan of his, but I also don't know everything about him. But I do know that a lot of leftists call him a fascist, which probably means that he's, you know, passing effective policies for his country, because anyone who does that, they call a fascist. So, you know, there's my takes on it overall. That's probably what I'd have to say about it. So, it is true. It's true, folks. It is very real. All right, let's take a look. Big Barbie, by the way, last call for Super Chats. We'll end the stream at about 9:15, because I'm getting tired and I'm legitimately losing my mind here. But 9:15, we'll wrap it up here, okay? Big Barbies would be too expensive. Too expensive. Increase weight and size costs more to ship. True, but what about the inclusivity? What about the inclusivity? All right. Let's take a look here. Never watched a movie, though. True. Again, I know this is a tired take. I'm not going to go on the whole rant once again. But, again, folks, why did so many of you men watch the Barbie movie? Oh, but Vince, it's actually right-wing because the message is this, and it's actually pro-patriarchy implicit. I don't care. Why'd you watch it? If you had to watch it and then you're going to come back tell me it was actually right-wing, then it wasn't right-wing. Like, you shouldn't have been watching it to begin with. You're a guy, all right? Now, if you're a girl and go and watch the movie and say, oh, well, actually, Vince, it's actually right-wing because of this, I'll say, okay, fine, fair enough. I don't know. But I don't care if the movie is right-wing. Why would a guy watch a movie about Barbie? Am I the only one who was raised like this? I was raised to not even... I was literally raised that it was basically unclean to even touch a Barbie. Like, my parents and just the social environment around me indoctrinated that, and I was fine with it. I was like, oh yeah, I agree, right? Which is even back then, when you were in like 1st or 2nd grade, any boy who played with Barbies was judged. How dare you even touch a Barbie? If you touch a Barbie, we will make fun of you. And I don't know, maybe it's just me. That always stuck. I still view it the same way now. But apparently, no. Let's go be men and watch the Barbie movie. Oh, come on, Barbie. Let's go party. Y'all are weird. I don't understand it. I don't understand that, okay? But let's take a look here. What else we got going on in chat? Again, we're going to end the stream at 9:15. So last call for Super Chats, 3 minutes or so. Be sure to go and do so. People can be driven by fads. It became an internet fad, so people wanted to watch it to be in on the meme culture. Well, I didn't even see a lot of funny memes out of Barbie. I just saw a bunch of dudes saying that they liked the Barbie movie, and I was like, strange. Curious. Truly curious. But let's see here. I had old G.I. Joe that were masculine Barbie dolls. I don't know how I got that. Well, at least that's G.I. Joe. Okay, whatever. It's G.I. Joe. That's fine. I'm not here to attack G.I. Joe. Okay? We love G.I. Joe. We love G.I. Jose. The Family Guy reference. G.I. Jose. I viewed playing with Ninja Turtles and G.I. Joes as the same as playing with Barbies. So I made fun of all of them and stuck to my die-cast cars. Well, that's fine. I don't have an issue with that. I never really played with G.I. Joes either. I played with plane models. That was the only thing I wanted to play with. I wanted World War II plane models. And my grandpa used to make them. And I would break off the propeller and the landing gear to make it look like it was flying. And I would just have dogfights. So I never really got into G.I. Joe either, but I don't think there's anything wrong with G.I. Joe. Okay? Because he's G.I. and he's Joe. So, you know, that's fine for boys to be into. I'd probably go watch a G.I. Joe movie, realistically, but Barbie? Again, folks. Again. What's the deal? Okay? A lot of you guys have a lot to answer for us. And don't think I've forgotten. Don't think I've forgotten. All you dudes who defended seeing the Barbie movie, okay? We're not forgetting. We're not forgetting. Anyways, folks, if we got no more Super Chats, I will wrap it up here because I think you can tell. I'm pretty delirious. I'm pretty exhausted. It's been a long week. We will be back starting tomorrow with full-time content and videos and streams next week and all that stuff, okay? Like I said this week, I had some stuff at school to do during the nights, but we're here. We're back. So, welcome us back. All right? Good to be back. But that'll wrap up tonight's show. Everyone, be sure to leave a like on the stream before you go. And until next time, until I see y'all, probably Monday. If there's a Trump speech over the weekend, we'll do a weekend stream, but probably Monday. Alpha Moves Only. God bless. Have a very good weekend. Be safe and peace.